This is a serious national problem. A boy or a girl has only a limited time in their life in which to get an education, and yet it will shape their whole lives and the lives of their children.
And this year alone, we have enabled almost 1 million students to go to college.
I see these young people, these children here. I think of their future.
I proposed $1.1 billion to help students all over the country.
Our education system can be improved. We might have to do it slowly. There are no magic answers to it.
Proposed education cuts are expected to total up to $1 billion.
Opening up the teaching profession to all qualified candidates. Merit pay so that good teachers get A's as well as apples.
Before the sun was up, the teachers started to gather.
Legislation to achieve excellence in education.
State funding did not look promising, and public forums for a bond were not well attended.
Education will be every citizen's most prized possession. Our schools will have the highest standards in the world.
An emotional day. Take a look for a Waushara County elementary school as it closes its doors for good.
In neighborhoods across our country, there are boys and girls with dreams, and a decent education is their only hope of achieving them.
Seen sending the audience into an uproar, police in one case using force to gain control.
They're saying enough is enough.
Give them the resources to keep good teachers on the job and reward the best ones.
We take a good teacher and make him into a better teacher, and take a better teacher and make him into a great teacher. That doesn't take more funding. It takes a different way of thinking about things.
So I'm asking all American parents to urge their children to go back to school in September. I think the system in every way is clean.
My most inspiring teacher was my third grade teacher, Mr. Payton. He really, at a young age, inspired me to learn. He made learning a lot of fun.
It was just amazing at the way he explained it. I got it, it sank in, it stayed with me forever. He was amazing.
She was my champion. She was infinitely patient with me.
One English high school teacher in the 10th grade who said to me, "John, you can write." And she was the one who inspired me so much that I became a journalist.
It was an opportunity to do something that doesn't come along every day, that seems insurmountable, that the thought of is inspiring and the accomplishment of is even more inspiring. And I think for a lot of people, it's a metaphor for doing whatever they want to do in life. A lot of people have said, if I could do this, I could do anything.
Within the first 5 years, over 40% of our new teachers quit. Of all teachers, new and veteran, 1,000 leave every day. There's low pay, low status, a great deal of public pressure, political, community.
The wide range of content and skills needed to be a successful teacher requires thoughtful, articulate, intelligent people who care a great deal about their work. The national average teacher salary today is $42,000. Average. That means that half of our teachers aspire to make $40,000 a year.
Okay, so we've stopped valuing our teachers. Well, we've taken all decision-making right out of their hands. We treat them as a technician, somebody who's reading a guide, rather than the professionals that they truly are.
We are systematically stifling the one thing all great teachers have in common: the ability to inspire students.
I didn't go to college when I was young because we couldn't afford it. And then I was amazingly lucky enough to go and study chimpanzees, meet Louis Leakey. He found me the money. And I'd been a year in the field, and he told me I had to go to Cambridge University. There was no time for a BA. I had to get a PhD because I would have to get my own money when he was gone. So I arrived in Cambridge, and I was a bit nervous. And so you can imagine that when all the professors, these erudite professors that I was nervous of, told me I'd done everything wrong. I couldn't talk about chimpanzees having personalities or mind or feeling because those were unique to us. And I should have been intimidated, and I should have apologized for doing everything wrong and said, okay, I'll do it right in future. But I had this amazing teacher when I was a child who taught me absolutely animals have personalities and minds and are capable of thinking and have emotions. That was my dog, Rusty. You cannot share your life in a meaningful way with any kind of animal and not know that those professors were wrong. So that was my most inspirational teacher.
Experiential learning is first-hand experiences. It's getting involved. It's not watching something, it's doing something. We need great teachers, and we need great teachers who have had a lot of life experiences. Teacher preparation needs to go beyond the classroom. In our case, way beyond the classroom.
So, why am I going? I can't say that like climbing Kilimanjaro is something that's been my lifelong dream. I mean, it's not anything I ever thought about before.
I thought, God, that's kind of scary. I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can climb a 19,000-foot peak. And but that's what ultimately made me decide to do it.
Well, I thought it'd be a great experience because I've been to Canada, I've been to Mexico, but I've never been on the other side of our planet.
I want to gather as much knowledge and information as I can so that I can come back and make this experience real for my students.
We're getting the chance to go, to the tallest, highest volcano in the world, the highest freestanding volcano.
I am going to Africa because it's the experience of a lifetime.
I've seen pictures, I've seen movies, but I could actually experience it firsthand.
I'm the type of person who, if something scares me, I'm gonna go out and do it to prove to myself I can.
What an adventure. What a great opportunity. How could I pass that by?
This is a chance for me to actually get out, push myself to the limits, and show to my students eventually that this is what anyone can do this.
Really, in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be there. Seriously. I'm gonna be at the foot of that mountain, starting the climb. And it's like, are you kidding me?
There's a whole lot of culture that I don't know a whole lot about.
Just awash with emotion, just thinking about it. I can't imagine. I mean, I feel like it's actually a dream.
Oh, man. I think the first image I think of when I think Africa is one of those Lion King trees. I don't really know what they're called, but they're Lion King trees. And you see the beautiful sunset in the background, and you just see this vast land.
Y'all ready for this extraordinary adventure? Yes. To Africa? Yeah. You are in for a big treat. Having traveled all over, there's hardly anything like Africa, and there's hardly anything like this experience you're going to have.
I've never been out of the U.S. ever. And my first time out of the U.S., I'm going to Africa and going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. It's crazy.
We have 10 assistant guides, we have 2 head guides, we have 7 cooks and waiters, we have a tent crew of 4, and we've got the most important toilet guys. We like those guys. We give them big tips. But there'll be the 28 of us, and this 100 or so people, so it looks like what you've seen in movies. It's a big kick. They're really professionals. I mean, these guys are good. They want to get you up there comfortably. They want to get you down. They want you to have a good experience in the process, because not only do you have to get up there, but you got to get down. And getting down isn't as easy as you think.
I expect it to be difficult, demanding, both physically and mentally.
I'm not quite sure how to prepare. I feel like I need to push my body in ways that's never been pushed.
I am so excited, but I am also really scared.
And as we go up the mountain, it does get a little bit cooler. And so you might start changing some of the gear in that day pack.
I think there's just so much unknown about this trip for me.
Headlamp? My headlamp burned out. The batteries went dead in 2.5 hours. I'm hoping that I'm going to get a little more time out of them this year. It's so cold. So I had a shell, I had my blue jacket, I had a fleece, and I had underwear under it. I look like, even more so, like a South Park kid.
The training that I'm doing here in Nebraska at 1,000 feet or so above sea level is running on flat terrain, because there's not a whole lot else.
I'd like to say nothing scares me, but that's just not true.
Plus elevation, you'll lose your appetite. You have to eat. You have to eat. Make yourself.
In all the preparation and all the work leading up to this trip, I'm really taking whatever fears come into my mind and just using that as fuel.
And you don't want malaria, so buy the malaria pill.
My sister was asking me the other day what my greatest fear was. And I told her, my greatest fear is a dental emergency.
When your body is pushed to the limits, that's when you really see who you are as a person.
You know, realistically, I will foresee some problems. I just hope they're not too bad.
I don't know. I'm sure I will be different. I'm sure it's going to change me. I mean, it's going to be a life-changing experience.
I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to make it to the top. I would hate to get all the way there and not make it. I'm scared I'll get altitude sickness. But I'm going to try.
We hear this comment about it being a vacation all the time. Vacation's not the word I would use. Sweat, exhaustion, sickness, challenge, determination, daunting, and they pay to do this. It's a university course. It has all the requirements that we would have with a normal course. The difference is it's outside.
Give them opportunities to live incredible experiences, generate incredible stories, stories that provide personal connections to the content being learned.
I'm loving seeing them right up against the road. Definitely makes it real.
Like, it was like a foot from at any point he could have just jumped up and gotten into the truck. I can't believe how close they are. Wow.
Well, I think when I can bring back my excitement and pictures and experience into the classroom, I'll hopefully be able to help my kids learn the same way that I've been learning out here, and help them become passionate about the animals that are around. And I don't know, I think they'll really be excited to learn about the animals on the Serengeti and in the crater.
There are a lot of valves which are pumping blood towards their head. They've got a very big heart, but also blood on their neck, which is pumping up the...
This is so cool. Oh my gosh. Finally got to see some hippos up close. I love the sounds that they're making. It's very cool.
This guy's going to town.
So these teachers seem to have a sense of responsibility about these type of trips. They're thinking about how they can take them back into the classroom, how their students would view everything that they see, how they can bring it back in a meaningful way. If they don't approach it through teacher eyes, it isn't as meaningful.
It's the stories, you'll notice. The stories they tell of their experiences. Stories are the way human beings make meaning of the world.
And Rebecca stood at the end of the road, not sure what to do. Mary Ann's shoulders were shaking, and it was obvious.
Culturally, we're programmed to respond to stories. We even think in stories.
There was this elephant, and we were all filming, sitting at the top of the truck, and as the elephant is coming over, huge bull elephant, knocking down a tree and coming at us, and he really wasn't coming at us. I think he was trying to let us know, you better get out of here. And through this one little eyeball, told the story, like this power that could have come at us, that within a split second, half on, turn on the ignition and hit the gas, and we took off, escaping near death. It was amazing.
We use stories to describe who we are and who we want to be.
When we were at Lake Natrone, we went for a hike up to a waterfall, and they were going to give us the opportunity to swim into the waterfall. And at first I wasn't going to do it because everyone was talking about the parasites that can get into your pores and things like that, so I wasn't going to do it. Well, we ended up on the hike getting waist deep anyways, so by the time we got there, I was like, I'm just gonna do it because I was here to experience new things, and I had never swam in a waterfall before. So it was a chance for me to have a new experience, and that's what the whole trip was about. It was just exhilarating, jumping into that water and having the water from the waterfall coming down, beating on my head, and getting to experience that with other people that jumped in with me. And I'm so grateful that I did it. It will always be one of the best memories of that trip for me.
There's a kind of austere beauty with the Masai. They are one of many tribes in Tanzania. The Masai were originally nomadic herders, and many still cling to the old traditions. Historically, there's almost a symbiotic relationship with their cows. The traditional Masai diet includes cow milk and cow blood mixed together into nailanga, now mostly ceremonial. They also make the most intricate jewelry and are in amazing athletic shape. One night, we were treated to an adumu, the jumping dance performed by young Masai warriors to show their courage and their daring. But for all their traditions, you know, they'll have their shukas, their red robes, a spear, handmade sandals, and then under their shukas, a cell phone. I remember once we got out into the really remote areas, the young Masai warriors were asking questions. They wanted to know what had happened to Michael Jackson. You know, they knew he died, but they didn't know how. So try explaining that one.
Lucy.
You know, almost every trip we take, we meet these amazing people. We met one in Africa, as far out in the Serengeti as you can go. This young man, Baraka, 17, 18 years old, spoke 4 languages, and he was working on a 5th one. I walked with him. He wanted to know about American universities. He wanted to go to school and become an engineer.
Ask you, you speak many different languages.
Yeah, sure.
Which languages do you speak?
I do speak Masai,
Masai,
Swahili,
Swahili, Spanish,
English,
a
little French,
and French,
and a little German.
Wow. And how did you learn all of that?
Myself.
You go to school?
No.
No?
No.
From here?
Yeah, just learning because I want to know. That's why I just buy some books and learn myself, buy dictionaries, learn myself.
That's amazing.
This is real Africa. We are up on the rim of the crater right now, nearly 2,400 meters above sea level, experiencing the nice view at the wonders of the world with the biggest non-broken caldera on Earth, Ngorongoro crater.
Millions and millions of animals all come together in this one area.
I think kids naturally get excited about stories. And I think they like to live through those stories. And me, having gone through that experience and telling the story, I think they think it's pretty cool that I did that. And I like the fact that they think, hey, Mr. Balser did this, maybe I'll do it sometime. And I've had kids say that. I've had them write in their journals. Maybe that's something I'll do one day.
Real life stories based on transformative experiences, of which there were many on this journey. You know, things that really stand to affect a person, can change who these teachers are and how they teach. Stories provide a way for us to change, to be changed by an experience.
We're here at the Tuna Hockey orphanage here in Moshi, where 30 kids live. We were able to bring some soccer balls, and now we're just kind of hanging out, getting to know the kids.
Tanzania is a very poor country, and most of our teachers haven't been to anything remotely, any place remotely like this. They lack in medical. The infrastructure is very poor at most. There's few roads. In most cases, they're dirt. The average Tanzanian makes $280 a year. Even plumbing. Plumbing is an issue in this country. There's no public school system. Many of the things that we kind of take for granted, they don't have.
When you travel, you are going to be exposed to so many different levels of humanity, and what we live and experience here every day in Denver, Colorado is just so completely different than somebody living in an orphanage in Tanzania. I think it's one of the most critical parts about traveling is to really take in the culture and to understand where you're at and put things into perspective. So all 30 kids live in these 2 rooms, or?
We have the boarding school for those who are staying boarding school.
Oh, okay.
So during the break time.
It's really hard to explain. Their way of life is what they're used to, and I don't think that I have any right to impose my way of life on them. I don't think it's right to introduce possibly things that we think would be good for them. How do we know it's good for them? So, we might bring a toy thinking, oh, this is fantastic, they'll love it because we love it here. But you introduce something like that and you have to really think it through. What is it that they're gonna get from that? And does it make a difference in their life?
AIDS is epidemic in Africa. Tanzania is no exception. There are over 1.2 million people there with AIDS. That's 5% of the population. And with very little medical care or even knowledge of how to prevent its spread. Most of the kids we visited in those orphanages lost their parents to AIDS. Many of the children themselves have HIV.
Broke my heart to see them, to know that they lost their parents to AIDS and that they were living on the streets. It's just very sad, but it was amazing to see at the same time. A lot of emotions.
We've driven across a good stretch of the Serengeti and occasionally have stopped and interacted with local people and interacted with another orphanage. What's your sense of what's going on there with those interactions? The first day that we were here, you did it, but now you've been here a little longer and you've had more and more contact. What are you feeling about us coming and handing out things and handing out money?
I feel good when we're helping and we're doing things like that, but then we pull into our big old lodge and we're taking a shower and eating all this food, and it's here's these people coming in and we're handing out toys and all these things, and then we go into our lodges and kind of leave their world and go back into this privileged world again, which is I don't know, that's
it's like a conflict, I just think you have to choose what you support. And for me, I did a lot of research before I came and I chose not to bring stuff.
I think the basic necessities of food, shelter, and water is important to give to them. Maybe not changing their culture, but allowing them to live in their own culture.
And here we are coming in and being like, oh, well, we think this is right. And here, take this. You should have this. But that's not necessarily true. You know, I mean, it's a cultural thing. And so sometimes I think we kind of just come in and don't think about it. And that was really hard for me. And I really kind of changed my mind on how I felt about that.
Some people were saying, oh, it's great because you get to really interact. And some people were saying, it's creating a lot of begging, and then the parents actually don't really like it. And we, as someone here, experienced that. Someone saying you're spoiling my children. So I think there's a lot of different opinions out there. And
yeah, like food. You know, you could buy them a 50-pound sack of rice and feed, X amount of kids for X amount of days. That kind of stuff. Mattresses. We went in there, in that bedroom, and there were bunk beds. One didn't even have a mattress on it, and everybody else was sharing 2 to 3 kids per bed.
So it's like, I keep thinking, what can each of us do in addition to maybe inspiring our kids, but what can we do as a group and collaborate with one another to actually do something that now we know the meaning of it?
The global perspective is huge, and it's way too much for one person to tackle, but it's also important to realize, we have to be able to know that you can make a difference in certain ways. And I think that's what's important for kids to get, because they probably feel that way too, how can I make a difference in that tiny little place?
Get them educated. So here it seems like it would be just wonderful to be able to build schools.
Yeah.
And have the villages go there. So I agree with you. There's the basic needs, but the education would help break the cycle.
Then that got me thinking, Leslie and I had been talking about how it'd be fun to do some fundraising to sponsor a kid to go through school, to get all the way through school, because that will change that child's life forever.
But like you said, it's a big world, and it's like, where do you begin to tackle which piece of it? But if everybody does a piece, then it's all helping.
Right.
I hope you leave this discussion recognizing that, not leave this discussion with a sense of hopelessness and a sense that there's just way too much here. Because personally, I think you start with one, and then you go to more. You go to the orphanage size, and maybe you go to larger sizes as issues start. But you start with one. And the idea of supporting and sponsoring an individual child is one that has taken off all over the world with many people.
Giving one kid an education is going to affect that kid for the rest of their life, where the clothing might only last them till they're 10, or the food's only going to last them for a month. That education's going to last them forever.
I think it's so important to go back with a mission in mind and follow through.
I mean, there's not much more to say. Now we just have to start doing.
Despite the poverty, the medical, the lack of everything that we would expect to be there, these folks are friendly. They're happy, they sing. It's remarkable, the optimism that's present in that country.
The more you experience in your life, the more you're gonna learn. And the more you learn, the more you can teach your kids.
There's a cultural exuberance there. It's hard to put into words how you interact with these people. The reality is that you do because of that.
It's one thing to take the lesson plans and teach it, but it's another thing to say, I saw this. I really saw this. It's real. I'm not just teaching you guys about this because I read about it. I actually saw this happening.
This cultural exuberance makes you feel connected to them. It makes you feel that they aren't different than you.
Risk is the crucial component. Risk is necessary for gain. Risk must be part of experiential learning. It might be the risk of embarrassment, public speaking, looking bad in front of people. It might be the risk of trying something new, the risk of jumping off that diving board, jumping out of an airplane, or even sending a letter to the editor. It might be the risk of falling in love. It might be the risk of demoralization or physical harm, like on Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, don't.
Kilimanjaro is the tallest freestanding mountain in the world. It's 19,000, almost 400 feet high. The amazing thing about it, though, is it's accessible. We can get people up there. There's trails that go all the way to the top. No need for climbing harnesses, ropes, helmets, any special equipment. Not to say it's easy or anything like that. 19,400 feet is high. Most people train for that trek for over a year. It's at the equator, but it's cold, it's windy. There's glaciers at the top of this mountain. Not everybody makes it.
When you see other people being brought down on stretchers or held up by their guide so they don't fall down the mountain, you realize this is serious.
Well, there are 28 of us from America. We had 12 guides, we had 6 cooks, we had 4 tent guys, we had 78 porters, and we had 2 toilet guys. All told, we had 140 people walking up that mountain in that expedition.
We're at the gate of Rongai Route, and as you can see, we've got an awesome display of porters and assistants. We've gone through the bags, we had some lunch. We're getting ready to trek up about 4 hours. It's kind of like base camp, and then we're gonna go and camp out and then get ready for day 2, make it up to the next camp from there. We've got a lot of nervous teachers.
Can't believe it's here. It's been a year-long wait for me, and it's here. It's really here.
Wow. You can see the mountain. A little intimidating. We're gonna be there in a couple days.
Front of Fred, okay? Because they have.
So it's day 2, and tell me what's going on.
Well, we're packing up, getting all the gear wrapped up here. We'll start up another 4 or 5 hours.
How do you think it went yesterday?
Yesterday was a fairly good day. We came up very fast. What normally would take about 4 hours, we did in 2.5 hours. So we're going to try to slow the group down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of adrenaline.
And I think the group's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, they look pretty good, but
Yeah.
this is only the first morning.
we'll wait till tomorrow.
pace has been so much better. Going a little bit slower, and I'm getting to talk to the porters a lot, which is really fun. Learning my Swahili.
I'm excited. It looks steep.
I can't believe we're going to the top of that. It's crazy.
Jambo.
Jambo.
Jambo bwana.
Bwana.
Habari gani.
Habari gani.
Mzuri sana.
Mzuri sana.
Wageni.
Wageni.
Habari bishwa.
Habari bishwa.
Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro. Hakuna Matata.
How are things going?
Things are going well. Just had a nice breakfast, another nice breakfast. And we got a short hike, so hopefully I'll work it off. But I'm slightly concerned. Got a little bit of a headache going on, but I think it's just a sinus headache, so I think I'll be all right. If I take it poli, nice and slow, I think I'll be all right. I'm feeling good. Guvu!
You know, I really hope everybody in this group summits, I'm pretty sure they will. Everybody seems like they're...
You never know.
Is like a unit on social issues and environmental issues in Africa. Where you teach about things like poverty in Africa and education in Africa, women's rights in Africa.
Any kind of experience improves teachers' ability to relate things to the kids better, because you're going to be able to have those examples and stories that you can present to them.
They haven't had many experiences. I work in a low-income school, so these are the kind of things I like to bring to them and show them so that they know there's more out there than just what they have.
Oh, it's so overwhelming. I mean, there's so many aspects of it.
My classroom is going to be full of creativity. I want my kids to come in and just be inspired by whatever is around them.
Taking a lot of pictures. They need a lot of visuals because they're kind of just in their own little world. Yeah. So to be able to see something different, that's what helps them understand that there are different things out there.
And the kids are also gonna relate to you more because they're all gonna be really excited that their teacher went to Africa.
And just have fun. I think that's the best way that kids learn, is when they're enjoying what they're doing.
Especially like my kids who live in a low-income district, they see needs just in their own community too.
Yes, exactly.
And they have a good idea.
In fact, you know, that's one of the ways I teach my kids a lot. When I start my classes, I tell them, you know, you gotta work hard, you're gonna have to do all this. I can promise you many gifts by the end of the semester.
Yeah, I'm really not sure yet. I think I would just like to do a whole potpourri and give them a sampling of everything, you know? Just a taste of everything. You know, not really concentrate on one thing, but maybe just have a variety.
You could read about this and wonder how you would react to it being here. But you'll never know until you're here.
I just wish I could take them all here with me. Would that be fun?
Yeah.
Okay, kids, we're going on a field trip.
So yeah, a lot of similarities, teaching and hiking Kilimanjaro. Both very inspirational.
I was in pursuit of music. It wasn't until we were on the mountain where it was there. It was a part of the fabric of climbing. That it was part of the experience. What part or what role did it play for me? It was that uplifting experience, having all these porters, these men, these guides singing to us as we came into camp. It was day 3, we were beat. And all of a sudden, this music that I had been looking for all along, boom, was there. It was there. There was hand clapping going on, and people were snapping pictures and dancing and trying to sing along in Swahili. It was a pretty magical experience.
So you've come to Africa for lots and lots of reasons, some personal, but for a lot of you, what impacts is going to have on your students, those hundreds, maybe thousands of students you're going to have over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years career. What are you starting to think are the direct things that you might bring back into the classroom? And equally as important, what are the indirect things that are impacting you that you feel might play out when you begin teaching this? Any thoughts?
Maybe that science is all over the world, and everywhere you go you can find, something to learn and something to explore, and it's not just in the classroom, it's everywhere outside.
Now, do you think that what you're doing here and the way you're thinking about it here is going to help you engage students to even be interested in going outside with you?
Definitely.
How?
How? To show them that it's doable, that anyone, we're not superstars, we're just ordinary people that are out here doing this. And we, kind of that whole, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And, show them pictures and show them that it's not just some people get to do those things, that anyone can do it. You just have to have the motivation.
And you're just not anyone, you're their teacher.
Having this experience of actually coming to Africa allows me to immediately bond with them.
The kids love it when I show them the things I've done and I incorporate it into what we're doing, especially research projects. I can show them that I did a research project, and then we can plan our own research projects, and it's invaluable, and they're almost shocked that I've done some of the things that I've done. So it's really cool.
One of the questions I have is, how do you start taking this experience that's yours, how do you take it back to kids and make it their experience?
When kids come home from school and their parents oh, what'd you learn at school today? Whatever, they don't necessarily know. But if you told them a story about when you were, climbing Kilimanjaro, they might go home and be like, oh my gosh, guess what? And then they bring that excitement home, and, and then they can transfer that to their parents,
Kids love stories. And then you can maybe do your stories and ask them to write their stories, and then share those stories, and then you just start that community again.
And what's cool about that connection is, I think, even beyond that, is that you build trust in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And I think once that trust is there, that's when they'll start opening up to you more. I don't know, there's so many kids that you really could have missed out on over the years if you didn't build that trust with them.
And that's the whole key to all of this, is to be able to inspire them to go out and reach their dreams and do what they want and
we
achieve what they
become their models.
Right.
I've never seen anything like what we've seen so far, and seeing the kids at the orphanage who have no parents, who are living on the streets, whose toothbrushes were dirty. I think for me, one of the biggest things I'm going to take back is never taking anything I have for granted ever again.
Over the past few days, I've seen certain cultural breakdowns, some profound activities taking place there. Interactions would probably be a better word, taking place there. And all of a sudden, things start getting closer and closer, which to this point, to me, culminated when we walked into camp. Talk about that a little bit, what it felt like.
It was amazing. It was really nice to feel welcome as we walked into camp. It made it feel more like almost home and felt like it was a group community.
And I think it's been neat to have all these human beings who come from all walks of life, and you come together, and a dance and a song is like the one thing that finally just is that bond that just really brings everyone together. And to me, that's when it just felt like, wow. And I think it's an important lesson for kids that you could be as different as anything from the person sitting next to you, but you can find something that the two of you will have in common and that will bond you.
Music and dance, it's just so universal. And there's no language barrier. You just are happy people together celebrating, and it's just awesome.
And it really validates the reason for why we're trying to do this, have this type of experience available to teachers, and because we know that it's not just going to impact you, it's going to impact hundreds and hundreds of your kids.
So we're getting ready to head out?
Yep, no problems.
No problems.
Group looks good, strong, mostly strong.
What do you think? What do you mean mostly?
No, I think everybody's fine.
You think everyone's going to summit?
Everybody's fine. There's a lot of more anxiety than the last time because they're getting a little tired. I think everybody could summit.
What do you think the anxiety stems from? Like the actual working hard trekking, or the cold, or
the cold, seeing the mountain, the trekking. I mean, it's all part of it. You know, the physical part of this is probably only about 60%. The 40% is mental.
Right.
You know, you've got to believe that you can do it and be able to push through when it starts to feel hard. So when it's exposed to the surface, it picks up the oxygen to complete the chain. And in that process, it's oxidizing, and that's what you're seeing here. And these are calcite crystals. Now, those of you that have been to Hawaii and you've seen Diamond Head, it was calcite crystals there that the British sailors first saw and thought were diamonds. And so this is where they came.
a long, long time ago, back when I was in high school. I dressed up like Mr. T for a Halloween party, and from that point on, that's all I got was silly Mr. T presents from people. And this was one of them. And so my sister actually bought this for me. And since then, that year, that we took a senior trip to England and France, and he came with. And from then on, he's just been my traveling companion.
Everywhere?
He's been everywhere. He's been to Italy, Scotland. He's been back to England and France. And I just, he's been to New York. And,
Nice.
Every year, I take a group of kids to a place called Sea Camp. It's a marine biology camp in San Diego, and he comes there too, and the kids love him. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, he's been everywhere. Now he's going to the top of Kilimanjaro.
He's gonna summit Kilimanjaro.
So, and when I get back, he's gonna get a Facebook page.
Nice.
And I'm gonna put all of his travel pictures on his Facebook page.
Ni mmoja tu aliyebaki eh? Ni mmoja aliyelala?
Ni mmoja tu aliyebaki. Kwa sababu kama 16.
Ready to go.
Let the adventure begin.
Okay. We're ready to go. I don't even know what time it is. Somewhere about... You don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You're gonna be her Peabody. You're gonna.
Pole pole hakuna matata. Okay, the pace will be slowly. Everyone can fulfill their dreams. Yeah, very slowly. So everyone can be happy and enjoy the night. Yeah. Okay guys, we are almost there, okay? So get ready to rock and roll.
I hope so. We're going to make it to the summit.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
That's great motivation. Will you remind me that at 4:30 when I'm freezing?
No.
No, you won't remind me? Jeez.
Twende?
Ready?
Yes, ready to go. Pole pole.
Hey guys, one line please, okay? One line. I'm in front, so you must follow me, okay?
Right? Yeah.
I think it's better to start off in the dark because we can't really see what's ahead of us.
That's a good
You know?
point.
Twende pole pole. Uhuru tutafika. Pia naye Tracy. Babu pole pole. Jambo. Jambo bwana. Habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa Kilimanjaro. Hakuna matata. Twende Serengeti.
Well, we've been trekking now for 4 hours and 45 minutes. Wow, cool. Every so often, a little headache, but I drink some more water, and that gives me a little burst of energy.
Well, I thought I was fighting a sinus pressure. It must just be the altitude. And I had an evening of vomiting.
I feel wretched, but that's okay. I threw up, and that helped, actually. I don't know if we could talk.
I can talk now.
Okay.
Definitely daunting.
My stomach's not feeling all that great, but I think I need some food. I didn't really eat the last 2 meals.
Hopefully everything will be okay.
Isn't this a great day? I never thought I'd make it this far.
I feel really good. So I'm just getting excited for what, 2 more hours? Maybe we'll be up top there.
Just gotta take it one step at a time.
Kilimanjaro, hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata.
It is at the risk of failure. We must risk failure to achieve and grow.
Well,
The whole issue of doing something that people tell you you can't or shouldn't do is important. As a teacher, we tell kids to do things, to try things all the time. And yet climbing a mountain, this mountain, is something teachers don't do? So how can teachers face their kids, tell them that they can be engineers, they can be doctors, scientists, anything, and not believe it of themselves?
Risk is an essential ingredient for us to find bravery and courage within ourselves, no matter if we succeed or not, whether it's taking off the training wheels or climbing Kilimanjaro.
Rainbow! Yes! Give me 5, yeah!
He's exhausted.
There he is! This is the big man! Good. You did a good job. Congratulations. You did the best.
We did it. Yeah.
Long way, but let's see if
What a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well played.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gideon. Thank you for getting us up here.
Press together, ready?
Press together.
R2D2.
R2D2.
Yeah. You did it, Daddy.
Yeah, sweet. Love you.
I love you too.
Yeah. Oh, I knew you'd do it. I knew you'd do it.
Oh! Yeah, Connor. That's great.
That's what I'm talking about.
Proud.
Mr. T!
Mr. T made it.
You made it.
I've been waiting a year for this.
You did it.
And there's so many times I didn't think I'd make it. I questioned whether I'd make it. And I'm here.
We're all just so happy. I can't feel my feet, but that's okay. And I have a headache and I feel like I'm gonna vomit, but it doesn't matter because I'm at the top of Kilimanjaro and I'm so stoked.
There you go.
So a few days after climbing Kilimanjaro, some of the group decided to climb a second mountain, Aldonia Lingai, an active volcano.
So surreal. I've never heard lava before, and I've never been this close to it and smelt it. You can feel the steam. Of the sodium carbonate that's covering everything. It feels just like chalk and a little softer than chalk. And it's just everywhere. It's really scary. It's so steep.
You can tell me about volcanoes. We can read about them. We can even make volcano models in class. But can you tell me what it feels like to stand on one? What it smells like? What the dust tastes like? You can explain to me the causes of altitude sickness, but can you tell me what it actually feels like to struggle up the thin air to 20,000 feet while freezing your toes off and trying not to puke? This is the human experience that gives knowledge meaning. This is the difference between knowledge and understanding.
The extraordinarity of the experience doesn't lie in the itinerary. The richness, the importance of this experience comes from the participant. It's the things that they bring to this experience, the way in which they look at it and how they may in fact bring it back into their classroom. That really determines what takes place.
I want you to look for some of the experiences that we had. And Tayden, I want you to be thinking to yourself, how would I feel if I was there? How would I feel if I was meeting these people or doing these things? Okay? Remember, when someone asks me about Africa, I have it's very two different sides. You know, the trek, the first part of the trip was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but also the most accomplishment I've ever felt, honestly, with anything. And the safari, there's something about that place that gets in your soul. And I love coming back and trying to make people feel that same thing that I felt. Okay? Jalen.
Oh, what's your favorite subject in school?
Ooh, in school, I love that.
Like, do they even have school there? Yes.
For me, coming back from Africa, I just felt so incredibly inspired myself to make learning more experiential for the kids. And I have not just taken that in the literal sense of teaching about Africa, but it's really followed me in all areas. And that's what's so neat. I've been able to incorporate the experience of learning in math, in science, in reading. And by getting the kids hooked into that experience, they're able to do things well beyond the level that I would have thought they could have taken it. And beyond that, the academics aside, which is key and obviously so important, they're leaving with these experiences almost as if they'd been to these places with me. And I would say the Africa trip was really my catalyst for this new drive and passion I have for teaching. So maybe they want to know from us if we want to learn some Africans. Maybe we can say, we really want to learn some of your words as well. Maybe you can share those with us.
My teacher is so cool. She's strong and brave, and she climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. And she kept on going without stopping.
For me, it was a very transformative experience.
Last 6 readers out to the front, quickly.
I don't know, it was a feeling of victory. Reaching the top of the mountain and sharing that experience with my colleagues. I was able to use some of my own words, some of my own ideas, and also those words and ideas that I found as inspiration in the journals of my colleagues. I was looking at their journals for ideas for storytelling. I wanted to tell a story on the stage, and I wanted to carry the kids up the mountain and back down. When we came back from Africa, I personally came back with several songs that I had in mind that I would teach the kids. There was the Kilimanjaro song and the Jambo song.
Kilimanjaro, you know the Kilimanjaro.
Yeah. With all the material that I collected and songs that I wrote, created a musical. It was narrated. There were students who acted the parts of teachers with specific characteristics and strengths and weaknesses and doubts and all those sorts of things. And built a story through singing, acting, some dancing, instrument playing, that told the story of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. And the kids loved experiencing that.
I see 1,000 wheels flying by me, carts and wagons and Nissan trucks. Some going fast, some stuck. Bicycles are loading down with the crate on the back, taking something to town. What did he carry? I couldn't see. That's what I saw flying by me.
Parents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, grandparents, 200 plus that watch this program.
The thing is, I can't picture him climbing a mountain like Mount Kilimanjaro.
It was the longest and most difficult night in my life. I seemed to do okay at first, but when I reached the second cave, I started to have some difficulties. I kept feeling like I was going to fall asleep. I was losing my balance, and I was having trouble breathing.
Fantastic. We're gonna run from the very beginning.
He's his music teacher down 1,000 feet above sea level in Nebraska.
He built up his reality and really made us comfortable after that. He welcomed us every day, had a new respect for everything we did, and I think that trip really changed him.
One dusty blue step after another, we're climbing higher, sisters and brothers. There's something new in the air. Can you feel it too? Yeah, 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 yeah. Pushing onward, my heart is racing, breathing harder as dawn is breaking. I finally push on through to the top, and I'm filled with pride. On the roof of Africa, I climbed up to the heavens and my spirit soared. On the roof of Africa, I heard the voice of freedom in the lion's roar. There's no doubt in my mind. I know I'm stronger now for making that climb. My journey was so true. Up on the roof, na na na, na 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 na,
I was amazed because I wouldn't ever think that a teacher from my school or someone that I know would ever go on such a great journey like that.
Him climbing Kilimanjaro is so cool because we're able to have him show us what it's like, and then we show the audience what it's like, and then the audience will show everyone else what it's like. And so I think it's kind of cool to share that.
And so it was a wonderful collaborative from those I traveled with, and it was all to serve the story that the kids told on the stage. And they did a fantastic job with that. What I've done, I believe through music, is planted that seed to inspire my kids.
Not to waste water, not.
I'm so glad that I took this opportunity that came my way. My life has completely changed in every possible way that it could because of it. I've changed emotionally. I've changed. My personality has changed. My self-confidence has changed, and the biggest thing is I've changed professionally. It affected my teaching, it affected my goals for my career, and it's opened lots of doors for me so I can pursue the passions that I have and what I want to do with my life and the changes I want to make in the world. And if I hadn't done this, none of that would have ever happened. Since going on the trip, I've decided that I need to see as much of the world as I possibly can, which I don't know I would have gotten the travel bug so much. I'd like to take it back and share my experience with my kids, be able to show them what I did and show them, look, I was scared to do this and I did it. You can do anything that you're scared of doing too. If you're scared of something, you can do it. I wanted to prove to myself that I could. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do something that difficult, and I knew that it would be a life-changing experience, and there was just something in me that told me I had to do it.
I feel excited about her, good for her, and I wish someday I could be like my teacher.
The fact that you've got fourth graders engaged in altruistic service learning projects, or a choral group experiencing the joy and emotion and excitement of Africa, or third graders seeing the value of doing hard things and wanting to be brave themselves. It goes right back to why we do this. What goes on during these learning journeys is a transaction in the truest sense. It's a transaction in two ways. The first is between the experience each person has and the narratives they construct to make meaning out of those experiences. The stories of Africa, the stories of their accomplishments, their struggles. And the second is the transaction between those narratives and that person's sense of identity, who they think they are, whether in terms of being an educator, parent, spouse, scientist, whatever. Our stories of lived experiences inform who we are and can change who we are.
After seeing the poverty, after seeing what was going on in Africa, it really made me want to come back and teach my kids so that they would make a difference and try to help as they get older.
We chose from 30 trees will be planted in your name, and you could give soap to a family in Africa.
I hope they could be a better life with a first aid kit.
Put a person through this experience and it inspires them. Put a teacher through this experience and they inspire others.
It's difficult to get a measure on it, but it couldn't happen without great teachers. And we've got to recognize that when we consider teacher quality. It's not in a test or a book or a standard. Inspiration never is.
Of the wonder of the journey, there is so much out there for me. I'll explore my world and discover more of me. To Africa, I'll explore my world and discover more of me.
One of the things I want to take back to my students is maybe, we could do some sort of fundraiser where we could sponsor a quarter going to English school to help them, improve their life. It's amazing how, I teach 8th grade, and that's the last place they want to be is school. And, they'd rather be snowboarding, sleeping, or playing video games. And these men are, begging to go to school to better themselves and have a better life. And if I can get my students to see how valuable that is and not take what they have for granted, and help somebody out, that doesn't have that, I think that would just be incredible. That's something I really want to do, that I'm really going to work on. And I don't know where to start, but that's going to be my first goal.
Kilimanjaro, Hakuna Matata.
Sing Jumbo one last time, and we all step down on the steps and sing to your parents, okay? Good, one time Jumbo. Jumbo.
Hey, Jumbo Bwana, oh, Marekani, hey, Jerry Sana, oh, wageni, hey, karibishwa, oh, Kilimanjaro, Hakuna Matata.
High five, high five!
I'm gonna go stir the porridge.
All right. Are there any techniques you can teach me?
It's hard to pick just one favorite thing.
What was the most difficult or your least favorite part of the trip?
The food on Kilimanjaro.
The bus?
Hey, baby. Ooh, I want to know. I don't know if you guys
I've got back and I need to work it into it.
This is Johnny Ringo reporting live from the equator between Tanzania and Kenya.
Did you do your nails today?
Today? Yeah, you know, to keep them nice and dusty. I hiked Kilimanjaro and all those colors.
I got this massive whiff of BO from climbers that had been climbing without bathing for 5 days. And it immediately sent me to the nearest rock. And again, I vomited.
Where is he?
Okay, goodbyes in all the languages you know. So we got a goodbye in English.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ni Masai, serena.
Serena. Serena.
Kiswahili kwaheri. Kiswahili kwaheri.
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 And in Spanish, adios.
Adios.
And in German, au revoir.
Au revoir.
And in German, in French, au revoir.
Au revoir.
In German, choose.
Choose.
Yeah.
That's so great. Oh, and this is good, good, and this is thank you. This is goodbye.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. We learned sign language.